So, what do abandoned railroads have to do anything with bike infrastructure and getting the most out of your life on your bike? Well, a lot actually. And trains and bikes just kind of go hand in hand. Um, there's this organization called railstotrails.org. They have this website called Trail Link, and they've been a huge advocate for converting retired railroad beds into multi-use paths for whether you're a cyclist, you're a hiker, you're walking to work, you're in a wheelchair, it doesn't matter. Like they have made such strides along with their community partners and local people on the ground to just make our cities better through this program. So that's what abandoned railroads have to do with biking is basically abandoned railroads are a great opportunity to turn into bike paths. Let's take a look at this map from abandonedrails.com. This is of abandoned railroads in Massachusetts. You can see this path, the Lexington branch right here that goes through Arlington and Lexington. And we can go over here in Arlington and Lexington and see that it has been converted into the Minuteman Commuter Bikeway, which is a beautiful bike path in New England, or just that goes outside of Boston. It's in New England. Takes you along beautiful scenic views and some awesome history. And what I will say is that if you zoom out and you look at all the opportunity that there is out there of abandoned railroads that can be turned into bike paths, it's kind of exciting. There's some more here that have been converted, and there's actually this Central Massachusetts Railroad from Boston to Northampton that they're working to turn into a full-length bike path. They haven't gotten there yet. You can see it's kind of in progress. Like there's this part west of Wayland, this part Rutland. It's starting to get connected. This part out in Northampton. But I just can't imagine what it's going to do for bike tourism in Massachusetts and just for people's quality of life when it comes to commuting and biking on a day-to-day basis. So again, there's some bike paths like this potential bike paths. That's what when I see an abandoned railroad, what I really see is a bike path. And we kind of have to make a decision. All right, what are we going to do with all this infrastructure that already exists? How are we going to make it useful for our modern day counterparts and folks? Although I will say trains are an awesome way to cut down on our carbon emissions, make transit more affordable. But it doesn't look like the United States is really embracing it enough like Europe has. Nonetheless, if we can really get on our game about biking, that is an exciting opportunity. So let's look in Texas. There's a lot, like this is Dallas, Fort Worth right here. Look at all these potential trails. This is the Kansas, Oklahoma, and Gulf Railroad. This goes all the way up to Missouri almost. Well, no, it goes into actually Kansas, through all the way through Oklahoma. And if you really can connect it, it would take you all the way to the coast in Galveston, which is amazing to go all the way through Texas and Oklahoma on a railroad. Let's look at what actually has been converted into bike path so far. It looks like there's a lot like around Dallas and Fort Worth. There's this section from Farmersville to Pecan Gap. Let's zoom on that spot. That is no, that's not it. Farmersville. This one, it's this section right here. Farmersville it actually goes to Pecan Gap, and then it actually continues on through to Paris, Texas, famous place. But as you can see, that's like the one main one that really extends out from Dallas that's been converted. So there's a ton of opportunity there. Let's look at another place like maybe Chicago, or no, let's look at Ohio. Ohio, kind of a railroad epicenter. I mean, they're everywhere. You could traverse basically everywhere across Ohio. And what I can say is there's this really interesting place called Xenia, Ohio, which I've actually done a video on the channel. You should check out about the rail trails that they've created all from and around Xenia. So they've converted these from old railroads into multi-use bike paths that connect you to Dayton. It connects you to Cincinnati and Columbus. And Springfield, I believe. Here, let's take a look at that. So they've done an absolute amazing job in Xenia, Ohio, of doing this. Zoom. Gosh, I love maps. I love the resources we have online today. It's just, if you really know where to look, it's just, there's so much information. Too much information, actually. It needs to be interpreted. Okay, here's Xenia. You would look at Xenia and you'd be like, wow, it is a hub. It is the center of the universe. And, it might be the center of some people's universe. All these rail trails have been created. 15.2 mile Creekside Trail, 8 mile Lebanon Countryside Trail, the 6.5 mile trail. Some of these also like continue on further. You just can't, they're just like separated into different sections and trails. But they're all part of like similar lines. So yeah, it goes to Dayton. It goes to Bellefontaine. It goes to Columbus. Cool. Let's look at a place like, how about like around New York City? And we can highlight really interesting. New York. Oh, let me sing. So New York's got some good trails. As far as like what's downtown, not a lot of retired railroads there, although it's missing one. It's called the Highline, and they've converted it into this beautiful. Let me just show you pictures of it if you don't know what it is already. Highline Nyc. It is used to be a railroad. It's over a street, and you can even see the history of it. They didn't take the rail sections away, which I think is really cool. The rail lines, and they've converted it into paths for pedestrians. Cyclists aren't really allowed up there, and honestly, they shouldn't be. This is a pedestrian path. It's only like 2 miles, maybe a little bit less. But nonetheless, if you're looking to advocate for cycling infrastructure in your city, there might be a wealth of potential trails hidden on abandonrails.com for you to check out and see what's going on around you. I'm excited. I think the fact that we can use what's already existing and just convert it is really appealing. My biggest hope is that let's not let these abandoned railroads turn into roads for auto traffic in auto vehicles, cars with engines and four wheels. Let's use them for better purposes. I know we can, and it's exciting. So fun place to explore. Also, if you're doing some bike packing trips, not all of these trails are going to be traversable, but if you do your research and find some maybe that aren't listed yet, that might be an opportunity for you to kind of walk and vagabond along or bike pack along. You didn't hear it from me though. This is definitely a useful planning tool. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful. I got a ton more videos like this up on the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, y'all.